submarine. A yellow submarine. A yellow submarine. Why, hello everyone. Good evening to you. See that a few folks have come here a little early. Well, that's good. There you are. Oh, there you are. A skeleton? Jack Skellington. He said, Mason, would you like to try a popper? And I said, wow, would I? Became a patron earlier today. Look at you, crazy killer, moving on up. Oh, God, it's a skeleton wearing a fat suit. It's a fat wearing a skeleton suit. Scooter and the Hog, dude. Scooter and the Hog on 95.7, The Fox. Scooter and the Hog in the morning. Brianna lost her mod already? No, she requested a demodding because she doesn't like the color blue. We don't ask questions. I was just watching that Talk Radio Fame, didn't finish it, but the bomb part had me at the edge of my seat. It's a great suspense film. It really is. I'm really shocked that I've never seen that film before. It's just a great dialogue-heavy suspense film. Yeah, Brianna's the Spectre that knew to step down, knew when her Spectrehood was over. She's the one. Watched an Alan Watts talk today, and in that talk he was extolling the virtues of recognizing the present and its power, because the present, according to his interpretation, is the only time that exists. There is no past, there is no future, there's only now. And we've been trained to look at the ticking second hand of a clock and think that that is representative of the present, when in actuality the present is radiating a wake into the future and into the past. He talks about self-perception and how we are not like, okay, it's a little esoteric, but let's walk down this road. We are not what we present to the world. What we present to the world is basically a costume. It is how we want to be perceived by the world, how we perceive ourselves, and we wear that suit. That suit is called the ego, but we're not that. We're not what we show the world. We are what we are in the moment. We aren't what we were made by the past, and we aren't what we're going to be in the future. We are what we are now, and now, and now, and now. Alan thinks, and I don't know if I agree, I guess we'll find out tonight whether the chat agrees, that this is the source of most of humanity's problems. That we are out of tune with the experience of being alive and overcome with hand-wringing about our past and over-planning for our future. Source of humanity's problems is that poop isn't edible anymore. All right, I'll get you out of here. See ya. The thought of re-entering the workforce terrifies me. He gives an anecdote in the talk that I watched about a talk that he had with a woman who, the talk started because the woman said, "I'm afraid of death." And he said he had a very long conversation with this woman about why she feared death. And what it basically came down to was she was afraid of what people would say about her when she was gone. She was afraid that people would wait until she was gone and then talk about her behind her back, I suppose, when she couldn't respond, and that everyone was going to turn out to be false. And so this was a woman that was not worried about death, but rather worried about the death of her own fragile ego, the death of people's perceptions of her in the past. It's an interesting line of thought. He said we imagine the future and the past, the present being this unrecognizable point where the past becomes the future. That's how we think about it. But really, the present is the only thing that actually exists. And I've got to think that that is right. And if that's right, then human beings have a massive misconception of their place in the universe. You're scared of death because you don't want your consciousness to end. But your consciousness ends every day, duck. I'm scared of death because I don't want my consciousness to end. You sleep, your consciousness ends. I think Watts is talking about, and we're constantly dragging our past selves with us when we're constantly changing from day to day, for sure. I honestly don't know. I think of this often, and I still can't pinpoint it. You have to remember the difference in functions. Sure, we're all human, and that doesn't mean we all think the exact way. Well, that's true. I mean, he's talking generally. Not every human thinks of themselves in those terms. But it does seem to be kind of something that's very easily pinpointable in society. People are very, very concerned with how they are perceived, myself included. I'm not talking like I've got it and you guys don't. I don't. I'm very concerned, as are we all, about how we're perceived. And what I put on here and on the show is part of my suit that I show you guys. But this isn't me. This is how I want you to perceive me. This is how I perceive myself in the present. And based on my past and based on what I want for the future. eventually you wake up, so it's not an end, but rather a pause. Right, but some people don't wake up. I mean, I'm not trying to fill you with existential dread, but I mean, I can't remember what her name was. The lady who played Lucille Bluth in Arrested Development died in her sleep at 80 years old. She went to bed thinking, another temporary pause in my consciousness, and that pause never ended. And she never noticed. And, whatever was her, she meant to lay down and go to sleep. Nobody is who they appear to be. Maybe. I don't know, man. It's kind of a question. On one hand, I feel like it would be kind of beautiful to just lay down with the intent of going on and have that be the end and not see it. On the other hand, I look at death as a fundamental human experience, and it may be the capstone of my experience, the final act, And so there's a part of me that, scared as I am of the feeling of my body biologically dying, feels that I want to experience that as well in the fullness of life. Understanding, of course, that death and life are the same thing. They're part of the same wheel. So, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, Marshall. It's a good question. It really is. It's a thought-provoking question, and it was a thought-provoking topic for me earlier. I don't know how much longer we'll carry it on tonight. But it's had me thinking ever since I watched it. I feel like it comes back to something that I've said to you guys a million times, something that a wise person once passed to me, which is everything is psychology. Perception is 100% of reality. And how a human being interprets that and moves through their life is 100% psychologically backed. Give me the random out of nowhere death that you don't see coming and you're just out. I don't want to go through the full dying process. Dude, this is kind of a non sequitur, but it just popped into my head. I've told you guys before that I like listening to police interrogations. It's a type of psychological interplay that I really enjoy listening to. It's like, as you listen to these police interrogations, you start to see that things that you at first, like the first few times I watched interrogations or depositions, they're kind of the same thing. There are so many things that pass between the person being deposed or interrogated and the interrogator, or it's not deponent, right? Deponent is the person being deposed. Like friendly banter, the kind of hellos, the way they introduce themselves, whether or not they shake hands with you, how they, the tone of their voice the first time they speak to you, all of this, while it doesn't seem like it on the face of it, deposee. Now, the deponent is the person being deposed. I don't know. I don't know what you call the deposer. That doesn't sound right. But anyway, I'm watching this new one this attorney general of, I think it was Idaho, who killed a man on the road in the middle of the night and then left his body there, called the cops and told them that he'd hit a deer, and then came back the next day and pretended to find the guy's body so that it would look like it was all just a big accident and misunderstanding. And this guy, being the attorney general, was not allowed to skip the line and let his, it would not be proper for his people to be the ones who interrogate him or investigate him about this. And so it passes to a kind of a state agency, a state investigations agency. I'll read your $5 here in a minute. And they basically, over the course of 2 interviews, wear this person down with just simple facts. They play several of the games that I've learned that these interrogators will play. One of them is just the simple old good cop, bad cop, where it's like you've got one cop, and that doesn't necessarily play out like it does in the movies. But, you've got one cop who's very open, makes a lot of eye contact, does a lot of the kind of sympathetic head movement and stuff that can cause people to feel, like you mirror the person's movement. If the person touches their face, you touch your face. And then you've got the other cop there that's very much a stoic presence, and it's meant to psychologically unbalance you. You're looking for support from one end, and you're looking for battle from another end, and you're defending yourself and trying to help yourself at the same time. So anyway, to put it all in perspective, the man that was killed by this car, to bring it back full circle and why it made me think of it, this is fucking crazy. This dude hit him in the middle of the night, wasn't paying attention. It turns out dude was on his phone. They were able to see that he was actively browsing at the time of the crash. Dude was looking at his phone, just hits this fucking guy. The dude's fucking face hit the windshield and came through, and his glasses broke and ended up in this dude's fucking car. The medical examiner said that he was dead on impact. Walking down the road, maybe his truck had broken down. 1 second, the next second, that doesn't sound any more comforting to me than having a heart attack or dying slowly of cancer, I don't know. You wouldn't lie about that. You would just take your licks. I mean, you say that now. A lot of people would say that, and I would like to think that I would react the same way, but put yourself in that position. That's a position that most human beings are never in. You have just negligently, non-purposefully, but obviously at fault for killing a human being. He's trying to save his job, too. Of course he is. Do you think it should be illegal for police to attempt to talk to suspects? No. I think it should be illegal for police to continue to attempt to talk to suspects who have asked for representation. It all kind of puts it into, I listened to that last night, the second interview with this guy. I finished it up last night. I listened to a little bit of it today again. And it's exactly what we're talking about. The moment of death and the ego and presentation and the way that we want to be perceived by people is all wrapped up in this case. Have you heard of the Mr. Big effect in Ontario, where they make an entire fake scenario where the suspect is supposedly working for a crime boss just to get him to admit to murder? Huh? I have not. I do know that there are some very, very fucking underhanded and covert ways that people get gaffled up by the police into admitting things that they never did. Sometimes it's because that person is emotionally compromised, sometimes mentally compromised. A good example of this is Jesse Miskelly, who was one of the West Memphis Three, who was functionally mentally handicapped and who was interrogated for something like 14 hours as a young teenage boy and constantly fed a narrative about what he had done until, through weariness and confusion, he started to just repeat it to them. Yeah, I've watched all of the Jim Can't Swim videos. I'm a big fan. I actually kind of know the dude that does the read for Jim Can't Swim. No, not really know him, but have interacted with him in the past. Kazoom Fowler. I don't think he likes me very much. I think he and I didn't get along very well, but I knew him from back in the Stickam days. I will do a replay of Disco Elysium after the final cut drops. Yes. I met him back in the day in various Sec TV chat rooms, yeah. He was pretty big in the great debate community back in the day. Bumped into him several times and would bump into his videos. The other day, the other one I watched was about the supposed apocalypse. Made me think of our current COVID situation. They lost me at zombies, though. Oh. Do you still talk to Gary and Mendham from the Stickam days? I haven't talked to Gary in a long time. I would, but I just don't even know how to get in touch with Gary or if he would even remember me at this point. He and I talked, not super often, but relatively often back in the days. He used to like when I would come in because I was one of the few people he would allow to kind of take, like back when he did a lot of live streaming and a lot of debating in Stickam rooms and stuff. I would pop in, and oftentimes he and I would end up talking about shit that he hated talking about, like movies. Like he always hated it when people wanted to talk nothing, but he let me get away with it. And me and him had some fascinating conversations about philosophy and movies as a result of that. I don't know. I always liked Gary. I really did. I still do. I still think the guy is intelligent and gives well thought out critique, is rightfully and righteously indignant about the state of the world and has a lot to say about it. And, I like him for that. I like him because he's a true blue individual. He doesn't bow to pressure. He doesn't bow to what people think of him. He presents himself exactly as he decides to present himself, and he stands on his own 2 feet, philosophically speaking, whether you agree with him or not. He's not looking to lean on a crutch. Hi, Paul. Hope you're having a good night tonight. I'm just kind of talking at the chat instead of to the chat tonight, but I guess I'm doing okay. We randomly limit unable people in law and order. There's no knowing what laws and regulations they're capable of abiding by without other unable people who are expected to record it. Huh? Disagreed with Amendum a lot, but I admired his consistency, and I think he genuinely believed what he said. Yep. He's a smart guy and makes a lot of biting critiques of civilization and humanity as a whole and reproduction and existence and consciousness, and is willing to do that sort of hard work of constantly going back to that topic over and over and over and over again and making that argument in different ways. And I respect that. Thanks again, Andrew Alt, for the $10. Polly baby, my Polly baby. Gary remembers everyone he had proper conversations with in Stickham, and I am just dust in the wind. He will remember you, Paul. Is AOC full neolib at this point? I don't know if I'd go that far, but I think that AOC and the squad and the progressive, quote-unquote progressive wing of the Democratic Party is a PR campaign more than it is a genuine, honest-to-goodness political movement. I think that it is a PR campaign for Democrats to hide behind, see, look, we've got these firebrand progressives. We just never let them do anything. But they're willing to tweet about how things need to be done. They're also willing to carry the water for the neoliberal wing of the party. So it just works out so swimmingly when that happens, doesn't it? Got all these people for young people and radical leftists to project their hope onto, absorb it all, and just go like, man, if only the rest of the party. What exactly would you have them do? Create a voting block and start blocking non-progressive legislation until they're brought to the table and reasoned with. There's a slim enough margin in the House where the squad could form a non-breakable voting block, bloating VOC, and hold up neolib legislation until they're dealt with. Rabble rouse. Be forward about calling out the members of the left that are doing damage to the very people that they say that they were elected to represent. Black and brown people, minorities, the disenfranchised worker. Don't suck Biden's dick. Like AOC gave a fucking interview recently where she said that people that are roasting Biden are doing so from a place of privilege, and that they're bad faith actors and shit. So how is that your progressive wing? She should be on Twitter and in front of any news camera that will have her constantly shitting on Biden. Constantly. She went down to the fucking concentration camps on the border when Trump was there and did a photo op where she's gripping the chain fence and let them out. Not a peep since Biden's been elected. Where's that at? Where's she at on that? She can't finance another trip down there to do another and shit on Biden for being the one that's fucking overseeing it. Have you seen her merch store? I haven't, but I bet it's fucking gaudy as fuck. And see this shit right here, Russell's Jimmy's from the fucking East Coast to the West. So many people have placed all of their hope in the institution that is AOC and the institution that she represents. That you point out the fact that she's done more capitulating to the neo-libs than she has done fighting them, people will literally go froth mouth mad at you. The progressives in Congress have no teeth. Major party reforms usually come about like the Tea Party did. The Tea Party was utterly subsumed into the Republican Party main body. The Tea Party did nothing. The Tea Party was a ground roots political movement that was immediately subsumed by the Republican Party. Immediately. So it didn't bring any actual fucking functional change to the party. Oh yeah, your $5 super chat. My bad, bro. I'm so sorry. I missed it. I told you I would fucking read it, and then I didn't. Like a dick. There it is. Out of all the ways to die, passing away in your sleep has to be one of the most peaceful ways to go, considering all the horrible ways you can die. Yes, we agree. I'm sorry about that, bro. I'm sorry I forgot. It's just in the middle of a thought. Middle of a thought. Shame on you, Paul. Well, thank you for your donation. I appreciate it. Sorry I missed it. Some would argue the opposite, that the moderate Republicans were consumed by the teabaggers. Then why did the moderate Republicans act just like the moderate Republicans from back in the day? Like, why was there no functional change in party structure or fucking party outlook? At least he paid to remind you. I mean, he didn't have to do that. He could have just reminded me normally. Monkey better than lizard. I know. I'm glad that you know too. I will be happy to praise AOC when she starts making good on some of the fiery rhetoric that got her elected in the first place by the people in her district. When she starts making good on some of the fiery Twitter rants, when she starts actually making hay on the left, I'd be happy to praise her. I'd be happy to be on her team, but until then, I'm gonna say what I think about her, which is that she's a good focal point for radical leftist thought, a good PR move for the Democratic Party to give it a face that's way more palatable and way more openly expressive about minority issues so that they can continue 99% of Trump's policies behind the scenes. Talking about AOC and the squad in general. Like, the fact that we flipped Georgia for no reason. Don't you guys love that? All the work and all the effort that went into getting Georgia flipped blue. No reason. LOL. What's happened because we flipped Georgia blue? I'll wait. Can do any of the keys on your keyboard other than L, O, and L work? I'll wait. Thank you. The expansion of the child care tax credit is huge. $2,000 to $3,600 per child. It's also paid out monthly versus annually. It's essentially a UBI. That on its own makes it worth it. It's essentially a UBI for people who have children. Do you really honestly believe that an extra fucking $3,000 is functionally a UBI? Why is that good? That's $250 to $300 a month. Yeah. That's maybe a car payment. How's that a UBI? Where can you live on $200 a month? Per child. Okay, so people that have 5 children can live on $200, $400, $600, $800 a month. Hello? Hello? Is it me you're talking to? It's not supposed to take care of everything for you. Oh. What happened to this? Yeah, that's functionally a UBI. So $300 a month is a universal basic income for 2 people with a child? Tell me more. Tell me more about the crumbs. Tell me more about the crumbs that have snuck back down. How about that fucking corporate tax rate too, huh? Or were you happy when you saw that thing fire up to 28%? Never mind the fact that it was 35% before Trump took office. We're ratcheting it down. Yeah, that's an improvement. What about when Biden is ousted and now that it's lower, now that it's not starting from 35%, now that it's starting at 28%, the Republican Party lowers it to 15%. And then when the neolib gets back after the next Republican president, they ratchet it back up to 20%. Uh-oh, Monkey losing all banana. Monkey thought Monkey was doing well, but Monkey lost all banana. This is like little ape brain shit that you're bringing up in here. Yeah, that's an improvement. Oh, wait. Monkey had 35 banana. Now Monkey only have 21 banana. Oh, wait. You give Monkey 28 banana instead. Okay. That better. Oh, no. Now Monkey only have 15 banana. Wait. You give Monkey 20 banana. That better. And the whole thing fucking blows up. And the game is shown. Walk one tiny little baby step forward from the left, one giant step back from the right. Tiny little baby step forward from the left, giant step back from the right. And guess which way everything's moving? Uh-oh, now Monkey have no banana. Turned out Paul was right, but it's 10 years too late for Monkey to do anything now. Monkey so stupid. Monkey pretend Monkey always knew. The left bad. 15 years too fucking late. See if it doesn't happen. he ran out of excuses and has reverted to insults. Yeah. There's a shocker. There's a fucking shocker. Everybody's lives are better. Wait till that child tax credit gets walked back by the Republicans, and then when it comes back next time, it's less and less and less. Or maybe it doesn't come back next time. You see what I'm saying? All they need to do is make healthcare happen. If they made universal healthcare and a functional UBI happen, the left would never lose ever again, and it would actually be a leftist system of government. But until then, if we don't get our utopia, everyone's wasting their time. Yep. That's what I'm saying, kid. You got it. That's what I'm saying, kid. You know, there's a word for what you just did. There's a term for it. I can't remember what it is. If I only had a brain, maybe I could remember. I could think of things I never thought before. And then I'd sit and think some more. Biden is the guy that's willing to meet halfway on awful and act like it's a good deal. Not even that. Biden has kept in place 99% of Trump's foreign policy and domestic policy. I'd be happy with halfway. 99% of Trump's foreign policy and domestic policy has been retained by the Biden administration. The subsidies for the ACA that closed the income cliff was huge too. The ACA is mandated purchase of private insurance. The ACA is mandated purchase of private insurance and a two-tiered system where people that can afford to pay get decent health care and people that can't afford to pay get scraps. The ACA is not a piece of progressive legislation. The ACA was written in part by Mitt Romney. The ACA is the baby of a right-wing think tank. And you're going to come to me and say that somebody tinkering with the ACA is a positive step. An excuse for not getting Medicare for all. When 23 million is more impressive than 20 million, I know. This kid has been fucking huffing on incremental hopium for so fucking long that his brain is broken. He's actually advocating for the tinkering with of Obama's disastrous Affordable Care Act. And saying, oh man, yeah, that's great. 275 months for a policy that covered virtually nothing. But that's incrementally better. I mean, you have to agree that that's incrementally better than having no coverage at all, isn't it? Going from no health insurance to having health insurance equals hopium. I'm sure people who got cancer think the same, Paul. Yeah. Never mind all the people that have cancer right now and can't afford the treatments, right? That don't qualify for free insurance under the ACA. Like, where's it at, kid? Yeah, we should try and help those people too. We should, huh? We should. We're not gonna, but we should. ACA was great. Someone who didn't pay for their own insurance while it was around. Yep. You, as a leftist, are willing to settle for table scraps on an incremental walk-back ratchet basis. The next right-wing regime that takes over will eliminate every little baby step that we've taken forward because you have locked yourself into a cyclical fucking way of doing things in which both sides are functionally on the same side. Do you think that Biden doesn't know that he ratcheted down the corporate income tax? Under his last vice presidential administration, it was 35%. Now it's 28%. Do you think that the neoliberal wing of the party is not aware of how awesome it is to have people like you continue to vote for them so that they can continue to ratchet that corporate fucking tax rate down? So how are you helping again? See, I've been around a few cycles, so I've seen what this type of help accomplishes. It accomplishes flat wages. It accomplishes union busting. It accomplishes a fucking completely and utterly flat set of worker protections in this country. It accomplishes the billionaire class basically stealing about 90% of America's wealth and hoarding it amongst themselves and leaving the table scraps to us. It accomplishes constant foreign wars of aggression, no matter who's in office. I'm sure, like you threw at me, I'm sure one of the people that got health insurance because of the expansion that happened would like it. What about a person living in Syria? Would they agree with you that it's better that Biden gave a few more people access to the ACA? Or do you think that they just want Biden to get the fuck out of their country and stop bombing it? How about a person living in Afghanistan, where one of two countries, by the way, that we're functionally occupying, where the government has asked us to leave and we refuse to? Do those people don't matter, though? What about somebody working in a sweatshop somewhere in the third world that props up Biden's bubble economy? What about a kid right now bedding down under one of those fucking foldable throwaway blankets in a fucking detention center, separated from their parents? You asked them, what's the harm reduction factor going on right there? In fact, just go walk into your inner cities. Go ask some of the people, the massive amounts of people, by the way, living under bridges, how that child tax credit helped them, or how glad they are that they have the option to pay $250 a month for fuck shit insurance. Don't ask me. Go take a walk in your nearest big city and pull people aside and say, man, how's your life changed since that last election? You don't want to hear the answers, do you? Yeah, ask them how that $1,400 stimulus check. They'd say it's pretty good. How about instead of putting words in their mouth, you go ask them?
Yeah, 1,400 goes bye-bye real quick.
Yep. Not everybody is a terminally online, burnt out Gen Xer. No, some of us are terminally online, bad argument, 20 IQ fucking Gen Zers. Oh, you have. I'm sure you have. Can I see some proof of it? You film it? Seems like it would be something you'd want to get out there. Yeah, go talk to them. This is a lib. Even if it's a troll, this is a lib. This is how they think. So even if trolling, which 50-50 chance, I'd say, given this guy's responses, that there's like heavy fucking trolling going on here. You said nothing material changed with flipping Georgia. I've provided you multiple examples, and I've provided you multiple examples to the contrary. And now we're arguing once again about the lesser of two evils. Are people in Syria better off because Joe Biden is president? Crickets on that question. But you want to talk about the crumbs that they've sprinkled on us in January and December, and then the recent crumbs that they sprinkled on us. Now, guys, this is a lib. This is how the lib brain functions. They are so tuned in to the paradigm, to the fucking system that tells them how to vote and tells them that it's going to be all right, that they are willing to accept sprinkles and watch it get walked back cycle by cycle. Nothing to say about Biden fucking ratcheting down the corporate tax rate. Nothing to say about it. He thinks that Biden is going to continue to improve the lives of people by lowering the tax base. This is your brain on liberalism. Please, sir, can I have some more? What? You want more? He didn't lower the tax base? Yes, he did, from 35% to 28%. Ooh. There's this thing called previous administrations and the thing called tax rate over time. You should really look at that graph and see it. Dumb fuck. Then when Biden drops it, 2024, to a Republican, they're going to lower it to 20%. And then the next lib that gets back in will put it back up to 22%. And then that'll be the functional Trump tax level. And I bet we'll still be here going like, 21% better than 15. Just completely having forgotten that you were born under a 35% tax rate. I was born under an over 90% corporate tax rate. He didn't lower the tax base. How did Monkey lose his bananas? Because Monkey doesn't know how to think outside of the monkey box. This is your brain on fucking constant liberalism. Yep. Everybody having healthcare is utopia, by the way. Why is every other Western country capable of creating a utopia? But we just can't do it for some reason. We just can't do it. Can't make that happen. That's utopian. If we don't get everything, if you don't give me my magic unicorn, then it's not good enough. It's like, this is a leftist. A leftist sits by and watches fucking kids get locked up in cages. A leftist sits by and watches millions of people without health care, allowed to go without health care during a pandemic, allowed to go out without a UBI during a pandemic when every other functioning Western fucking country of note gave their fucking people a UBI and is still functioning. This is a leftist now. This is what passes for leftism now. Table scraps from the corners of the mouth of the big fat rich robber barons. Oh, thank you, sir. Oh yes, you've got a mighty big hunk of rye bread there in your beard, sir. Could I just? Oh, thank you. He's a lib. Oh, thank you, sir. That's right. We just can't do it. It's utopian to think that everybody be taken care of. It's right. They can't do it fast. You just can't expect them to just do something about it. Give me that raw bread crumb, sir. Isn't that good? Sorry, Paul, I live in the real world. I don't just ponder utopia from my porch. Yeah, I'll agree with that. You do live in the real world, and it doesn't sound like you ponder much utopia or anything. It sounds like you let other people do the pondering for you, and then you bring their arguments to me. Doesn't sound like pondering is your strong suit, son.
Richest country in the world, the country with the most fucking military power, just can't do nothing.
We just can't do it. Some reason we just can't do it, and that's always excusable from the left wing. Just can't do it. That's true. I didn't see a hawk spirit. No, you didn't. Neither did I. I saw a hawk take some prey behind me, and it was cool. No, I'm putting a spotlight on you tonight, kid. You're not gonna fucking like, I was just trolling out of this one. I know you weren't trolling. I know you just came here to get manhandled. Oh, I know you're not. Trust me. I see a lot of troll comments going out and shit. I think you're trying to hide behind it now because I think I've got you on the fucking ropes. I think you're trying to come off trollish now with your hawk spirit shit, but it's not coming off to me. I've been around the sun too many times. Met too many fucking kids like you. Had too many of these fucking conversations. I know what you are. You're an excuse maker. You're a crumb acceptor. You're a fake leftist. I know exactly what you are. You're not a leftist. Well, shocking. I am actually a lib. You didn't have to tell us that, kid. You didn't have to tell us that. If you'll recall, if you want to rewind this, I called you that right at the very beginning of our conversation tonight. I knew what you were as soon as you fucking came. You reeked of it. No, my chat has called you a troll, a leftist, and a lib. I've called you a lib. No, he's not fake.
He's screaming, it's like, I'm not a leftist. It's like, you weren't accusing him of being a leftist.
I wasn't. Trust me, I would never make that fucking mistake. The bourgeoisie is getting richer and richer, while the proletariat is getting poorer and poorer. Marx, Engels, and Lenin are rolling over in their graves. That is true. You can see Lenin spinning in his, can't you? Isn't it on display still? This corpse still on display?
I think so. Maybe not. It's
In like the Kremlin or some shit?
So. Like most of his body's been replaced by wax.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Is it spinning?
Lenin.
They should put it on a rotisserie so it like.
Yeah, I guess it's still on display in his mausoleum.
I just said he was a fake leftist, yeah. AKA a lib. A neo-lib.
That's why I was confused. It was under renovation at a point, and then it got reopened. So they just kind of open and close it as they replace it with more and more wax.
Sweet. Yeah, keyword fake. Love how Paul just pissed off most of the patrons by shilling for Jimmy Dore. Man, shocking to me to hear that, because I haven't heard much patron fucking complaining about it at all. I hear a lot of complaining about it on the DP subreddit, which is a hive of this exact type of thought, by the way. You can go read this kind of neoliberal fucking excuse making any day of the fucking week over there.
Yeah, it's like there's over 6,000 patrons. There definitely weren't no fucking 5,000 comments.
Nope. Oh yeah, the DFF sub. Damn us for choosing another D named show. Jimmy Dore does make good points from time to time. Yeah, he does. Paul mad, Paul bad, Paul sad.
Seem like the lights are going out, or
Yeah, they're dimming. Probably needs to be plugged in and charged. His laser vest is starting to go out. The liberals need to remember who's coming to their door to raid their fridges when the country collapses. Yeah, dude. The fatties. Jimmy Dore is a grifter. There's a lot of grifters out there, son. Before you throw out that accusation in one direction, you might want to look behind you, to the left and to the right of you, my friend. Did I read all of these? If I didn't, I'm sorry. No, I read that one. And I read that one. Okay, we're good. Myanmar is what happens. Myanmar is what happens when we let the fascists take over. They don't hesitate to fire on their own people. Neither does the United States. See the 1960s Watts riots, see the 1990s riots in South Central LA, see the rolling out of tanks against the indigenous people of Standing Rock by Barack Obama, see. They have no fucking qualms turning weapons on their own fucking people. Kent State, Portland, the list goes on, bro. Ooh. We're so good at seeing that fucking fascist shit in everybody else, but we've all got to make excuses for why we're not doing that. We are the boot, dipshit. You take a walk outside of this country to the third world, where our factories are exploiting people and where our mining companies are ripping their fucking natural resources out from under them. We're the boot. If you're a minority in this country, the government is the boot. If you're not one of the privileged, economically lucky few, your government is the boot. And you can lick it all you fucking want. Or you can call it what it is. And refuse to waggle your fucking tongue out and lick it. Your choice, not mine. How many deaths has capitalism created? Untold, innumerable deaths, innumerable graves, innumerable human lives cut short, innumerable orphans made, innumerable. Couldn't even come close to guessing. 1 million people alone in the Iraqi invasion. 1 million people from that alone. The biggest homeless epidemic in the world, the largest prison population per capita in the world, the largest prison population, period, in the world. But we don't live in a fascist state. Exporting misery to every corner of the fucking globe. Raiding countries like a bunch of fucking pirates. Get real. Get real.
I found the right charger for it.
Oh, for his little laser vest. Laser vest. But Paul, Biden's drone strikes are just, yeah, that's like the difference between striking an arms depot and striking a church during mass. The utter sociopathic lack of empathy in statements like that makes me want to fucking puke. And it coming from somebody who styles themselves a leftist. Makes me want to fucking puke. I wouldn't say we're a fascist state yet, but we're on the verge of that. I say we're always on the verge. This is it, dude. At what point do we cross over into a fascist state? How many more brown people do we have to oppress? How many more minerals and fucking natural resources do we have to steal out from underneath indigenous people's feet before we're a fucking boot fascist? How many more wars for profit and proxy geopolitical positioning are we going to have to fight? Where's the fucking line? Somebody please tell me. This is just for giving me hope, Paul. You bring so much joy on this dying planet. Well, thank you. We're the bad guys in the world, guys. We're the bad guys. We're the pirates. Our culture and our industry invades every corner of this fucking globe, sniffing around for resources to bring back here to turn into shit to sell back to those people. We're the bad guys. Wake the fuck up.
You hear that? Beeping?
It's a car alarm.
All the way over there.
Yeah, it's a distant car alarm. What will it take for us to not be the bad guys? To not export misery everywhere we go? To not export war everywhere we go? To not exploit indigenous people everywhere we go? To not ignore underprivileged, lower class people in our own country, be they minorities or not? To not ignore problems like homelessness, mass fucking incarceration, to not ignore problems like an entire fucking country that is under the boot heel of a for-profit, broken fucking medical system, to stop ignoring the trampling of the very minorities that we claim to care about in this country. That's what it would take for us to stop. We don't solve all these issues in one go. We shouldn't bother, though. No, but if we're going to keep ratcheting them back, we should look for another way. If we're going to keep moving every issue that isn't a hot button fucking football social issue back to the right, then we should probably start as leftists looking for a different way. Now, you as a lib don't believe that, but I do. Uh-oh, he's back. I know. He went and got some burn cream and rubbed it over his little fucking ass. Now he's back. Got some diaper rash cream, and now he's back to get another paddling. It's cool.
General strikes don't work. Has there ever been a general strike here?
Nope. Not undermining your point, but are there good guys? No. No. There are just different levels of bad guy. Source: the global poor, the global indigent, the global forgotten, the global ill, the global disabled, the global minority. Can you tell me how a family with 2 children getting $500 to $600 per month is somehow negative?
Per month?
Well, he's working out the child tax credit.
Oh.
So he's saying that with the child tax credit, what it breaks down to is between $500 and $600 a month. Do you have any children? To me, a fascist state is when one party. Right. All right. That's fine. I'm not going to read fucking paragraph after paragraph after paragraph after paragraph of excuses. Secret police and death camps, etc. Okay, so what are our fucking mining camps that mine the coltan for your phone? What are our fucking factories that pay pennies on the dollar to children to farm our cacao beans and coffee? Not death camps. Those are just happy, fun work camps. You have no children. So you have no idea what the cost of having a child every month is. So you have no frame of reference to say that $500 to $600 for a family that has 3 children is even going to make a dent in their fucking monthly. You compared at the beginning of this conversation to a functional UBI. $600 doesn't buy one person shit for a month, let alone 4. So you have no frame of reference for the cost of having a child. But you're here to crow about what a fucking positive thing it is that people are getting a temporary child tax credit. Scandinavian countries are like the Tao of the world stage, the closest thing to the good guys, but still flawed and globally irrelevant in terms of power, and still subsumed by the United States. Doesn't even pay my rent and I live alone. It's a functional UBI. Have you heard of the negative impact of lowered expectation? So when people crow about what is a drop in the bucket to a family that has 3 children, then it allows leftist candidates to produce less, and it allows the right to ratchet that further back.
Like, tell that to the parent that's working full time and has to go to daycares. Like, daycares are fucking insanely expensive.
Yep.
That can be easily
Daycares, healthcare for your
$300 a
child,
week or something.
clothing for your child, fucking school supplies for your child, the food for your child. The list goes on. Endless money sink. And you're willing to beat your chest about crumbs and take what you're given. What we're given is not enough. And the more that you pretend that it is, the worse things get here. Generational lowered expectations is what we've been told to swallow from the American left since I was a boy and since before that.
It's like, why should we have lower expectations if, like, the whole point of Georgia was like, oh, now Democrats have the Senate and the House and the presidency, but they can't get anything done.
Right. The whole point of Georgia was to give Democrats the power to pass legislation. And then we've heard nothing since Georgia flipped blue but excuses for why we can't get it. Can't get a $15 an hour minimum wage. Just can't do it. Can't. Where are we going to get the money? Maybe a little bit of that money could have come from bumping the corporate tax rate up above 35%. But see, our expectations are lowered, so we take the 28. And then when the Republicans come along and, oh, they lowered it to 15%, grrr, then we get happy when it's 20. They didn't get anything functional done when they had the fucking majority during Obama's presidency. They didn't have, it just never happens.
Like, if voting is the answer, then, well, the voting succeeded. Power and everything.
Yep. It's not even true 28% either, a la loopholes, bailouts, right? It didn't close any of the corporate tax loopholes. A lot of the largest corporations in America, due to deductions, pay functional 0% tax rates. Whoops. And then are subsidized by the government as well. So they're actually given money by the government. Isn't that great?
Like, Biden's allowed the fucking vaccines to be patented and rejecting the idea of taking off the patent to make it be produced faster.
Right. They controlled Congress for 2 of the 8 years of Obama. Yep. And got nothing but the ACA accomplished, a neutered version of what the ACA was meant to be, which was a single-payer option in America, finally. It's what it was sold to us as. And then in the 11th hour, the libs caved and made it a mandated purchase of private insurance. It was an absolute shit show of a rollout. The care that people get on it is substandard to a fault. And they're still fucking libs crowing about it. Crowing about Biden tinkering with it. It's a joke. The psychology of lowered expectations are real. They don't want people to have healthcare, UBI, higher working standards, or better education because it raises expectations. Exactly. They want exactly what they've got now, which is a society that is generationally content with lowering their expectations. You used to ask people, like, what are your dreams for your children? That they would have a better chance at things than I would have. That's gone now. Children are worse off than their parents were. Children have less earning power than their parents did. And we're supposed to celebrate as people on the left because of this. Because the labor movement has been gutted. Because the robber barons have come back. Because the antitrust laws have been subverted. Because we've exported all kinds of economic and fucking labor exploitation to every corner of this fucking globe. Because we've dropped bombs on brown people every time we find oil somewhere. Every time there's a cache of resources that we want, we find a reason to invade, topple a government, install a puppet government, and then refuse to leave.
It's like, it seems like a lot of people like fundamentally misunderstand what happens after an election. It's like the whole point of electing politicians is like you're never satisfied. You shouldn't ever bow down like, all right, we won.
No.
It's like, we have this freedom in this country to relentlessly criticize their politicians.
And you do. You do. You don't carry their fucking water. That's exactly right. It's your patriotic duty to be constantly critical of politicians. They are your representative. They work for you. This idea that everything's fine and dandy because somebody promised they were going to do something, back to brunch, has overseen the death of the working class in this country. The sad thing is the only way the left is going to get real change is if we have a revolution, but the government is too strong for that now. I mean, the government is not too strong for a nonviolent revolution.
If you got every single person or working class adult outside the White House.
Yep. Put them in the National Mall. The hippies did it and changed fucking American war policy. Imagine Occupy Wall Street, but 200 times the size of it. See, this is a tactic that the left has used generationally to push politicians. And you notice that it has nothing to do with incrementalism or electoralism. It's about a show of force and a show of solidarity.
doing the best you can. Like, anyone bitching like, oh, you're just porch sitting. It's like, you're trying to get ideas out there. You're not currently part of the working class where you can organize a group of laborers, so.
Nor do I have the fucking, like, ability to do that or the training to do that. I'm not a fucking union organizer. I'm doing the best I can to provide my critique of the current political climate in this country and to provide my critiques of the political class and the billionaire class in this country and the state of affairs in the world and how I feel America, the place that I live in and pay taxes in, fits into that.
Yeah. Lonely Paul on the steps of Capitol Hill ain't gonna do nothing.
No, other than get me arrested for vagrancy. Yes. By liberals, universal health care, a $15 minimum wage, and a UBI is considered utopian. They will say that if we can't have our utopia now, then we shouldn't do it. That is what will be thrown at you. That was thrown at me earlier. Literally classified as utopian. Do you think if everyone in this country protested and demanded health care, a living wage, etc., we could get it? If we had a mass protest movement, we could get fucking 8 million people on the National Mall. That movement could change the direction of this country. It's happened before. If we had 8 million people storm the financial district of New York and shut it the fuck down and refuse to leave until their fucking grievances are redressed, refuse to leave until we get some movement from these politicians, we could change things. Nobody wants to do that, though. My friend goes out to sit in restaurants with her friends, and I am against her doing so because the waiter could be exposed to COVID. I speak out against it. Am I right, in your opinion? I mean, dude, I don't know. It's a crazy question. Like, I do not go out to restaurants. I've gone out to one restaurant since the entire pandemic, and it was outdoor dining, masked fucking waiters and fucking constant sterilizing of everything outside between people and shit. I didn't feel like that I was endangering the waitress any more than I was endangering myself or the people around me by being in a public place. But thinking back on it, I probably shouldn't have done it. Like, it was probably not worth exposing myself and exposing Amelia and exposing the other people around us to the possibility of getting COVID. So I don't know that you're necessarily right or wrong. I don't think that there is a right or wrong answer to this. I don't know. I don't know.
There's that super chat too. Probably don't give a shit.
What's your opinion on Lincoln Park? I'm not going to talk about Lincoln Park right now, dog. Thanks for the $4.99 though. Currently staring down the barrel of 4 years of student loans with no other option than to take them. Feeling free. Yep. Lowered expectations. What a wonderful world we live in. Are you a Trump and Biden equally? Are Trump and Biden equally bad to you? They're bad in different ways. And I don't know that arguing about the equality of their badness makes much of a fucking point. Like, it's bad is bad, right? So functionally, 99% of Trump era economic and war policy and foreign policy is still in effect. There's been very little actual substantive movement. So, do I think they're exactly the same person? No. Do I think they're a repackaged part of the same machine? Yes. Yes. Do I think that they represent the same business interests? Yes, I do. The sad thing is that for that to happen, people on the left and right would have to unite, but the elites have convinced people that their fellow Americans are irredeemable and deplorables. Oh, I mean, yeah. The Dems are trying to pass a multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure bill. If it passes, do they deserve credit? Yes. Infrastructure, like a massive infrastructure plan in this country, while not functionally replacing a UBI, healthcare, or any of the other things that we've talked about, is sorely needed. So sure. They pass a multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure bill in this country, and that multi-trillion dollars actually goes to employing people and fixing the crumbling inner cities and highways and railways of this country and updating them to a more modern standard, then yes. We've still yet to see if that will pass. Is voting an endorsement of the system? Not in and of itself, no. The act of voting is not necessarily an endorsement of the system. The act of championing, like picking a candidate, championing a candidate, is an endorsement of the system. The simple act of voting is really neither an endorsement or a positive act. Incrementalism is the present reality. But it's not incrementalism in the way that we want it to be. Everything except for social attitudes is moving backwards. We're slowly getting to an end goal. If the end goal is for working people to have no power, then I agree. The end goal is an effective 0% corporate tax rate in perpetuity for every rich business person, then I agree. If the end goal is the destruction of the ecosystem, the global ecosystem, then I agree. If the end goal is the constant bombing and exploitation of the third world, then I agree. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
I needed to wet my whistle. So incrementalism has not worked unless you're a social reductionist and you reduce everything to LGBTQ plus and minority issues. Those things have incrementally gotten better over time, and literally every other standard of human existence has gotten worse. Flat wages for over 40 years. No fucking healthcare, despite every other fucking country in the world having figured it out. No UBI during a pandemic, despite every other country in the world figuring it out. We've moved back. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security didn't exist in 1900. You're going back to 1900? Like, you've got to reach back to 1900 to find some progressive legislation? That's not that long ago? That's like a whole fucking 2 generations ago, dude.
More than 2. Like 5.
You fucking crazy? That's not that long ago, what, on the universal time scale? So 100 years, 121 years of stagnation is cool with you?
Yeah, all right.
All that talk of Biden's Green New Deal sure helped out in our environment, right, guys? I mean, I don't think Biden had the Green New Deal, right? That was the squad, and yes.
He just re-signed the Paris Climate Accord.
Right, and that helped the environment a ton. The environment is so much better because of that. Whew, global warming, done.
It's like we forget that our government's capable of unilateral action.
Yep. You proved me wrong and I'm mad about it? You dipped back to the fucking 18th century. And you're arguing that 120 years of stagnation since then is a good thing and that incrementalism works.
Paul never said improvement's not real.
God, dude. This kid, dude. Why don't you do this? I'm gonna make a fucking observation for you. Why don't you go somewhere where you're by yourself and argue with your conception of me? Because I'm getting really tired of arguing with your conception of me. I'm getting really tired of you responding by insinuating that I said things I never fucking said. So why don't you go to a room by yourself and argue with your fucking imaginary Paul that you've got in your fucking head? This dude's not a troll. 100% this dude is not a troll. This dude is acting trolly now to provide cover for the fact that he came in here and got manhandled in front of fucking live on the internet. He got mollywopped on the internet, and now he's trying to act like he's a troll. No, I'm not going to order 66 this motherfucker. I'm going to watch him squirm. I got this motherfucker on the hook. You think I want him banned? You said we never see progress. I point out clear material progress that passed within the last 50 years. You talked about the fucking 1900s.
We've had nothing but decline since the New Deal. It's like, if you're looking at it from that perspective, the monopolies have just gotten more and more bloated.
The share of the pie of the American worker, of the fucking fruits of this country have slowly but surely disappeared. And this is supposed to be progress. This is supposed to be progress. The car came out back in the 1900s too. Yeah, it did. Progress, yo.
Let me get you one.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. I think I'm on my last one in here too, so I'll have to get one too.
Hello. only the rabid civilization addict can hold. We are all going to die very soon from industrial ecocide, and we're making so much progress at the same time, yeah. When I lived in Georgia, I worked full-time and never saw more than 1,000 in my bank account. The government is refusing to change that. That's absurd, yes. Yes. That dude was trolling, Paul. I know it. No, he wasn't. You give too much credit.
I mean, the best metaphor for like progress is like, look at how technology's progressed in the past 50 years versus civil rights.
Right. Like look at how technology has progressed, but the plight of the average person has regressed. LA Tent City DFF meetup. Dude, you don't got to go to LA to find those anymore. You can find those in any large-ish city in America now. Just go find them.
Yeah. Take a drive, look at some underpasses.
Yep.
Go to your local recycling place where people turn in cans and shit.
Yep. They're in every city in Oregon. Every city. Yep. They're in most of the cities in America. And in places where they aren't, it's because homeless people are forced to sleep elsewhere because the fucking local municipalities mercilessly tear down their fucking lean-tos and shelters and shit.
And you go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs again. Like, that's the level of progress that you're looking at. The fact that we still have people that don't meet level 1.
Right. The base of the pyramid is missing for a significant chunk of people in this country, and in threat of being missing for an even more significant chunk of people in this country.
You can't enjoy the social progress if you can't put food on your table.
Nope. I appreciate your input. Thanks for being you, Paul, Amelia, and you are awesome. Love you guys. Thank you. You think we will have President Harris before Biden's first term is up? It's a total possibility. Hashtag that dude was a troll. Well, whatever. You missed what that dumb guy said? Yeah, I'm not going to scroll back for it. He can rephrase it. He didn't have anything to say to begin with, other than, yay, status quo. Boo anybody who thinks outside of that paradigm.
We ratcheted it a little bit.
Yep. I gave you clear examples of progress. You said I picked a weird date. You really got me. I didn't say you picked a weird date. I said you picked a date that was 120 fucking years ago. Yeah, making change is difficult when you vote for the people who functionally stand in front of change, as is illustrated by the ratcheting of the corporate tax rate from 35% to 28% over the course of two liberal administrations. Somehow, during Obama's years, 35% was the bottom end, and now during the Biden years, 28% is the bottom end. And let me tell you, that few percentage points is everything. That's money in the bank. And the next time it happens, we'll be looking at 20%, 21%. And that is the Trump tax rate. We're losing. We're losing. Change is hard when you do nothing about anything. Change is hard when you continually and cyclically vote for your oppressor. Do you measure progress solely by the corporate tax rate? No, I use the corporate tax rate as an example of how the rights of the fucking working people in this country have been ratcheted to nothing. What do you think the corporate tax rate represents? It represents the corporations of this country that employ a bunch of people that a bunch of people give their lives to in exchange for just enough to get by on or less. It represents their contribution back to the health and well-being of that society. Dumb fuck.
It's part of the wealth disparity.
And when it goes down from leftist administration to leftist administration to leftist administration, that ain't progress, dipshit.
It's like he was talking about Medicare and Social Security, but those are going bankrupt because of that corporate tax rate going down.
Yeah, you gotta fund those things. Reports say the establishment that prominently features Hillary would have backed Trump if Bernie got the nomination. So she would have likely advocated for a clown that swiped the presidency for her. Let that sink in. Bernie was never going to get the nomination. The very top find tax loopholes anywhere, though. So while the percentage does matter, we got to address. The loopholes are everything as well. The lower rate just makes the loopholes easier. It makes the loopholes more lucrative. It's like empowering the loopholes, making the loopholes more and more lucrative because you're paying less to begin with.
It's like, even though this fiat currency is kind of wibbly wobbly in reality, we need to actually have the funds for them to justify funding things.
Right.
And the way it is now, like Social Security and Medicare are going to be bankrupt in like 30 years or something.
Yep. Honestly, a lot of the blame for a massive decline goes to Bill Clinton. He's the one who made this neoliberal BS popular in the 90s. Yep. Even though TJ is my god, I have to admit Paul is right. So now he may become my new god. Maybe you should work on being right yourself and stop listening to other people and throwing your fucking hat back and forth between personalities and think for your fucking self and read a fucking book or something. Obviously, the squad is legislatively ineffectual. All that passes is stuff woven with corporatism. But isn't it good that M4A and living wages are talked about by some politicians? No. Money talks. Bullshit walks. That's part of it. Part of it is talking the talk, and then when you get fucking elected, well, can't be done. Force the vote is performative. $15 minimum wage. Just couldn't get the votes, guys. What? You've got the House, you've got the Senate, and you've got the presidency. You just couldn't get it. Couldn't ram it through. Couldn't make it happen. Nancy Pelosi for speakership, though.
Yeah, it's like, what was that fucking president that had to work with the fucking Dixiecrats to get the civil rights bill passed?
Who was that? I can't
LBJ?
Was it? I can't remember.
But regardless, like, it's an example of them forcefully reuniting their party over something that their party was divided about. Like, all it took was 8 fucking senators that they had to politically corral to get the $15 minimum wage thing in the Senate.
Yeah.
They couldn't corral 8
Nope.
Democrats.
Nope. Nope. Couldn't force those fucking Democrats to stand up and show that they were opposed to the American people so that we could primary them. Or challenge them in a primary. Nope. Performative. That was the excuse. Oh, Jason. Luxury space communism for all.
Yeah. No, John. Yeah, I think it was LBJ. He did have some cojones. Call people in while he was shitting on the toilet.
Yep. Come in here. You're gonna vote. God damn it. I love how people think politics is like House of Cards. Dude. Alright, that's it. You've been reduced to literal fucking trolling. You're gone. Have a good one. It was fun talking to you tonight.
Politicians can't exert pressure on each other. That would be weird.
It's like, what?
Negotiations? What the fuck are those?
Yep. And he's a Gorn. Wow. Whew. Talk about like beating your face against a wall.
I know, Otello. I know the feeling. But sometimes you gotta let them play a little bit.
No, dude. It was never bully Biden. That was just a meme. It was always let Biden be a failure so that we can point out what a big fat failure he is. That's what it was. Bully Biden was just a meme. Excuse factories. Excuse factories.
Huh? Dude, there's some weird ones in the chat today.
Yep. You have to hand it to the oligarchs. Nope, that's it. That's the statement. You have to hand it to them. That's it. Statement complete. I've had like 12 jobs in my life. I never play by the rules, and I hate industry standards. Rebel without a cause. If I had a fucking collar, I'd pop it right now. I get dunked constantly. You're kind of a do-nothing dum-dum kid. You gotta work fucking harder than that, and you gotta get up way earlier in the morning to get anything but a ban for that. Good Lord. You get dunked on constantly on Twitter. Zoomers. So cute. Aaron, I'm going to ride your face until I can see myself in the reflection of my juices. Oh my God. You two take it to fucking DMs right now. I don't want to see another one of those, or both of you fucks are getting dunked. Find myself chain smoking during these. God, I love them. Thanks, Paul. Well, me too. How is it possible to get true progressives in power than to avoid mere incrementalism? Kill the DNC, replace it with something that is based on a new workers' party, let it die on the fucking vine, and create a bottom-up political party that actually solves people's problems rather than exacerbates them. Like, people were literally cybering in the fucking chat tonight, dude.
Yeah.
They were cybering in the chat.
Yeah, I can't keep track of it, this chat. This one's so all over the place.
I diddle my cliddle.
You see one, and I'm looking at another one trying to, like, suss it out. It's just...
What are you gonna do? Got a high turnout tonight, you know what I mean? What's cybering? It's like having text sex. Sexting, but on the internet.
Yeah, we do have more people than usual, like 100 more people than usual. It's weird.
Yeah. I rub my thick, veiny shaft. I touch your boob.
Yeah, it's a sad day, Ismail, when cybering is something that the kids don't know what it is these
I know,
days.
dude. Seriously, I got made to feel old because nobody knew what I meant when I said cybering, yo. God damn. People going nuts. Yeah, I don't know what it is, dude. The stream has gone bananas.
You're 25 and you don't know what cybering is?
Literally never heard cybering in my life. Wow. Well, back in my day, we used to send each other messages back and forth and have, like, sexual diddle sessions with one another. I'm sure that still exists. It's just not, it's called sexting now, right?
Or is that outdated too?
Is sexting outdated now, too? CD burning, yeah. Oof.
Damn it, Jason. Reminding me of that book that I flushed down the toilet because I was...
Yeah.
Maybe I'll finish it someday, but probably not.
Probably not. I'm 23. I feel like cybering recently is reserved for people who couldn't get any IRL, so they have to resort to weird back alley yiff erotic roleplay. I mean, like, there is a lot of that goes on, I assume, but, you know. Like, cybering is just, like, jerking off together. It's like phone sex. Like, before the internet, people would get on the phone together if they couldn't get together and, like, talk dirty to one another or whatever the fuck. I mean, it's the same shit.
Gotta have more imagination, y'all. It's a skill.
The brain is the largest erogenous zone. Let's cyber. Okay. I touch your boob. I squeeze your boob. I'm 22 in Cali. If you a girl, slide in my DMs. Lamau.
Is the Lamau enough?
I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. Is that banned? Is that a ban? Maybe.
It's so confusing today.
I know. I don't know. Is this a meetup stream now? I guess so. I don't know what's going on, bro. I'm as confused as I'm sure everyone else is. I'm also a little bit stoned. Well, more than a little bit stoned. I'm feeling pretty loosey-goosey. And I'm having a real hard time following this. It's now a literal lefty stroke session. It is? I thought we were just talking about cybering. You need to update your troll comment. We were just talking about cyber sex, bro. Doing ASL and trying to hook up in this chat is cringe. Dude, what if somebody actually did meet in this chat though? Like what if two people were in the chat and they fell in love in the chat? Wouldn't that be cute? Love connection. Maybe instead of spreading so much salt, I'll spread some love.
Oh, did you hear about Meatloaf's fucking dating show?
Meatloaf had a dating show?
He's making one, I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that.
Good title. Meatloaf song.
Putting couples through the ringer.
Great. Profiting on breakups.
Yep.
Sorry for the bad question, but bro, have you seen Witcher on Netflix? It's a good adaptation of a video game book into a TV show. I have not. Sorry, I'm not. I'm one of those weird gamer people that doesn't give a fuck about The Witcher. I can't get into it. I don't care about I don't like it. I don't like it. I almost met a guy in this chat. Unfortunately, he wasn't physically attractive to me. What are you going to do? We've come close. Swing and a miss. Ingrid's out there looking for a physically attractive single guy. Or girl, possibly. I don't know. Come on. Who we got out there? Let's make a love connection. A 36-year-old gay divorcee who is dead inside. Ooh, we got a contender already. How about me? Man, you guys are really bad at fucking pitching.
Yeah.
How about me, Ingrid? What'd you think about me, Ingrid? Like, man, do I gotta coach you guys how to do this? Hey there, Ingrid, how about me? Dude, a chick named Ingrid is never gonna get with you based on that. Just the name alone lets you know that you're dealing with somebody that's a little more refined than, hey, how about this dick? You want this, baby? You know what I mean? Nobody named Ingrid is going for that. Just not happening. I'm a 6'5", 300-pound neckbeard. Hit me up. Damn. That's what I'm talking about. That's how you sell it right there. Boom. Got a picture in my head of a fedora, a trench coat, a neck beard that's sweaty, an anime shirt. pair of fucking like army boots.
Yeah, I think Ingrid is long gone now.
That's a prime piece of beef. Yeah, she probably went private with one of these studs out here. One of these stud muffins in the chat, yo. Ingrid could be a super hot Euro chick, but she could also be an eldritch horror. I mean, that look, dude, them's the dice that you roll, you know? I'm here for Paul. And Paul, I want to say, despite being a short, long-haired, skinny, jean-wearing man, I know for certain I could hold you up in my arms with ease. Dude, I'm not on the market.
Yeah, you see that wedding ring?
I'm wrapped up, bro. You know, you're not gonna be grabbing me nowhere. Do the man dance.
Oh my god, we found someone that hasn't watched a stream of yours in like 4 months.
Yeah.
Like, whoop, Paul Mary.
Paul Mary. Do you like me? Check yes or no. Dude, the ultimate was when you would fold it up into one of them things. You know what I mean? Remember those little paper things that you would like, you could open them 2 different ways and you had to count like 1, 2, 3, and then you'd open a flap. Like you could put a whole love note in one of those, dude. That was it. You were getting to go to the dance. I can't even remember how to fold those things anymore, but I used to know how to make those motherfuckers back in the day, man. I was good at it. Like, yeah, the little fortune teller things. I never played Zap, no. But yeah, dude, I sent a few like, do you like me? Check yes, check no notes. And I got a couple of rejections and a couple of yeses in my day. You know what I mean? You got to ask sometimes. Sometimes you just got to be direct. See, I feel like I had a lot of like swagger when it came to that in elementary school, and then in junior high and high school, it just kind of like tapered down. I flamed out for a while, guys. But in elementary school, I would just like, if I liked a girl, I'd be like, yo, I like you. And I'd get rejected. Ew, I don't like you. Okay. You never land any of the fish that you don't fucking try to catch. You know what I mean? Dude, I was dripping in swag in elementary school. There were 2 chicks at my school that were like the chicks that all the boys had a crush on, and both of them got in a fight over me. One of them took me out to a tree and she said she was going to kiss me. And then the other one came out there and was trying to kiss me first. And we had to it got broken up by a teacher. Because they were both going to try and kiss me and they were not going to have it. And I was just like, ladies, please. There's enough lips for all of you.
You got that picture on your Instagram. You got 2 girls for the dance.
That's true. Popcorn pimping. That's how I was back then, dude. There were 2 chicks that I liked that were like in my neighborhood, and there was this little fucking Valentine's Day dance or whatever that the whole neighborhood and all the people we knew were going to. And my mom asked me who I was going to ask, and I told her I was going to ask them both, and she tried to tell me like, no, the girls don't like that. And I was like, whatever. And I did. I was like, I want to go with both of you.
And both of them showed the fuck up.
And dude, they got dressed to the nines. We had a great time. Kind of lost that swagger for a few years in high school, though. Went through that awkward, ugly duckling phase, you know.
Look, I got to be jealous for. This was before I was born that you were.
I was in fucking like 5th grade, 4th grade. I didn't date till I turned 19, and I haven't since. I hate people so much. Lol. I mean, no, whatever. It's not for everybody, I guess. I've never dated anyone outside of middle school. Jesus Christ. You got to get out there. You got to flip it out there. I mean, Jesus. Put on the fucking sexy boots. Put on the mini skirt. And get out there and be somebody. Do the mating dance. Yeah, dude. Is dating ever worth it? In my mind, yes. You know, I've had quite a few relationships in my life, and I've learned a lot from each one of them. And I feel that I'm a better person for having gone through them, even if they were bad relationships. It requires actually talking to people, though. Yeah, it does. After dating for years, I feel like I'm too hardened to want to date anymore. Maybe somebody out there's looking for just that kind of hardness. Maybe you're just hard enough. I can't give you no crash dating course. I'm not a pickup artist or whatever the fuck. All I know are like generalities about dating and shit. Like the best advice I can give you is desperation is a stinky cologne. Partners can smell desperation coming a fucking mile away.
You gotta strike the balance.
Right. There's a difference between interest and desperation. And you gotta know what that is. You gotta walk that line.
Sometimes you gotta get in the friend zone.
Sometimes, I mean, like the friend zone doesn't exist.
I mean, like with rejections and stuff. Like sometimes you get friend zoned. What you gotta do?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Like, if you're not looking for a friendship, then don't let yourself be friend zoned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You ask a person out, and if they say no, don't. You know, if you're not interested in being friends with them, don't whine about being friend zoned. Here comes the incrementalism train. Yeah. Toot toot. All the girls always go for the bad guys. Scratching his moobie. Yeah, I was. Had an itchy boob. Friend zone sucks. It's better to be direct. Yeah, I agree. I'm also bored now, so I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for chilling. I'll see you next time.